I thought I had the perfect marriage. My husband Daniel and I had been together for 8 years, married for 5. We weren't just husband and wife, we were best friends. At least, that's what I believed. But one night changed everything. It started with a seemingly harmless conversation over dinner. We had just finished eating, and I was sipping my wine when Daniel suddenly said, "I have to tell you something." His tone was off too casual, like he was forcing himself to sound normal. I put my glass down, bracing myself. "Okay." He took a deep breath. "I haven't been completely honest with you." I laughed, trying to ease the tension. "What? Did you secretly hate the lasagna?" He didn't smile. "No, I think I'm in love with someone else." The room tilted. My stomach twisted so hard I thought I might throw up. "Excuse me?" My voice barely came out. Daniel clenched his jaw. "I didn't mean for it to happen. I didn't cheat, I swear. But I've developed feelings for someone, and I think I need to figure them out." I stared at him, waiting for him to take it back, for him to say it was a bad joke, but he just sat there, looking guilty, waiting for me to respond. "Who?" I finally forced out. He hesitated. "Her name is Natalie. We work together." Of course, the dreaded work wife. I felt my breath quicken. "And what does figuring things out mean? You want to leave me?" "No, I don't know. He ran his hands through his hair. "I feel like something's missing between us. And I don't want to cheat on you, so I'm being honest before anything happens." How considerate of him! For the next hour, we argued. I yelled, I cried, I asked how long he'd felt this way. He kept saying he loved me but felt confused. At one point, I even asked if he wanted a divorce. He swore he didn't. And then, the moment that really shattered me, I asked if he had told her. And he said yes. Not only had he confessed his feelings to another woman, but he had already made me an outsider in my own marriage. That night, I locked myself in the guest room and sobbed until my whole body ached. I wish I could say I woke up with a plan. I didn't. I went through the next few weeks in a fog, pretending things were fine when I was barely holding myself together. Daniel, to his credit, stayed faithful at least as far as I could tell. He was extra attentive, constantly checking in, reassuring me he wanted us to work. But the damage was done. I couldn't unhear what he had said. And then came the next bombshell. One evening, I was scrolling through Instagram when a notification popped up. Natalie just tagged Daniel in a post. My hands shook as I clicked on it. It was a photo of their office team at a happy hour. Everyone was laughing, drinks in hand, and there was Daniel standing right next to Natalie, leaning in just close enough to make my stomach drop. But the caption? That was the real dagger. Some people just feel like home dawa. My vision blurred. I clicked on the comments. Most were innocent, but one stood out. "You two make such a great pair." And Natalie liked it. I couldn't breathe. Was this a joke? A test? Or had Daniel already made his choice? That night, I didn't confront him. I needed more. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I went through his phone. And what I found broke me. I expected flirty messages. I expected emotional betrayal. What I didn't expect was her text from 2 nights ago. "Natalie, I can't stop thinking about what you said. Are you sure you're staying with her?" "Daniel, I don't know. I feel trapped. I love her, but I want you too." I nearly dropped the phone. It wasn't just a crush. He wasn't confused. He had already made his choice. I didn't hesitate. I took screenshots, packed a bag, and left. I stayed at my sister's place that night. The next morning, I sent Daniel a single text. I saw the messages, "Don't bother coming home." His calls came in rapid succession. I ignored them all. Then, finally, I picked up. "I can explain," he started. I laughed. "Oh, please do. Tell me exactly how you plan to have both of us." I didn't mean... "Shut up, Daniel." My voice was eerily calm. "I'll send the divorce papers soon." Silence. Then he whispered, "I don't want a divorce." I scoffed. "Well, I don't want a husband who wishes he was with someone else, and unlike you, I'm not confused." I hung up. In the weeks that followed, Daniel begged for another chance, but I was done. Then, just when I thought I had heard the last of him, a mutual friend spilled the real shocker. Daniel didn't end up with Natalie. Turns out she wanted the excitement of the chase but not the reality of being with a married man. The second he became available, she ghosted him. I wish I could say I felt bad. But honestly, he deserved every bit of it. And me? I'm finally free. I will be very grateful if you subscribe to our channel. I've been married to my husband for 15 years. He's a great provider, an amazing father to our 2 kids, and on paper, he's everything I could ask for in a partner. But here's the truth. I haven't been in love with him for years. I tried. God, I tried. I thought love was something that could be rebuilt, that if I kept choosing him, the feelings would come back. But the more time passed, the more I felt like I was suffocating in my own life. Then I met Daniel. Daniel is everything my husband isn't: spontaneous, passionate, intense. He made me feel alive in a way I hadn't felt in over a decade. It started innocently enough, just talking at work, lingering glances, a few too many laughs at his jokes. Then one night, we were the last 2 in the office. One moment we were talking, the next we were kissing like we'd been starving for it. I told myself it was a mistake. I told myself it could never happen again. And then it did, again and again. For a year, we lived in this secret world, one where I felt like the woman I used to be before marriage, and kids turned me into nothing more than a wife and a mother. I knew it couldn't last. I knew eventually I'd have to make a choice. But the choice was made for me when I found out I was pregnant. My husband and I hadn't been intimate in months. There was no hiding this. So I did what any terrified woman would do. I ran. I packed a bag, took the kids, and left. I sent my husband a text that night, telling him I needed space, that I'd explain everything soon. But before I could, my mother-in-law called me, her voice shaking with rage. "You selfish, disgusting whore," she spat. "How dare you destroy my son's life?" My stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" She laughed bitterly. "Oh, don't play dumb. You think we didn't find the emails? The hotel receipts? The pregnancy test?" I felt like I was going to be sick. I had deleted everything. I had been so careful. But my husband wasn't stupid. He had known. He had known for weeks, and he had let me dig my own grave. I rushed home, but it was too late. My husband had already packed my things. My kids were gone, taken to his parents' house. He stood in the doorway, looking at me like I was a stranger. "I never want to see you again," he said quietly, "and you will never take my children from me." That was 2 months ago. I'm living in a tiny apartment now, seeing my kids only when my husband allows it. Daniel? He left the second I told him I was pregnant. Turns out he wasn't looking for a future, just an escape, just like I was. And the worst part? The baby wasn't even his. A paternity test confirmed it. It was my husband's after all. But none of it matters now. My marriage is over. My kids barely look at me. I lost everything for a man who was never going to stay. And the only person I can blame is myself.